Welcome, race fans. This is Ron with Big Wizard TV. We are here for another one, sponsored by Stair Fittings Incorporated and Grandpa'sKitchen.com. This is the East to West Racing GT3 Challenge Series, and we're on season number 6, and this is race number 2 at Oulton Park. And if you watch the highlights from race 1, you'll see that this looks like telling a very similar story. Morgan Tiggy out front in the qualifying, starts on the pole of the sprint race, stays out front for the entire sprint race, followed by these 5 guys here, 6 guys behind him. Morgan, Adam, Philip, Brandon, and Chris Springer. Those are the 5 that start, and those are all in the top 10 at the end. Rich Hibbs also moves up by the end of this one, but really great race by these guys. Not much of a challenge throughout the sprint. Now they do invert when they flip over to the feature race, so nobody really wants to jump ahead here, but everybody running great. One car, very impressive here, back in 16th at the time. This is Jeff Wyatt. He avoids the big one here as he goes through on lap number 2 of the sprint. Misses it by that much and gets through. Jeff noted here because of the great run he had. We'll watch him throughout the feature race and come back to his race later on. Jason Rabe does jump out in front on the feature race. This is the 29-lap feature. Jason Rabe, Chris Springer. This is some excellent racing action here. Lap 3, Chris gets by. He's got Rich Hibbs in the mirror. The 2 Mercedes are just nose to tail here. As Chris starts to pull away, Chris does run into some trouble on lap 4, which puts him back in the pack and pretty much ends his night. But Jason and Rich, Philip, Adam, Morgan, Jeff Wyatt, right there from 2nd to 7th, those guys just battle it out throughout the entire race. Jason doing a great job here, staying in 2nd spot, and now you can see he's up in front. Rich Hibbs on his tail. Philip Scott right in 2nd spot. Man, Jason is doing everything he can to keep Rich behind him. The 2 of them door to door, lap after lap. Just running some great racing here. A lot of good action. Morgan has moved ahead of Adam by this point. This is lap number 9. And these guys battle it out throughout the entire race. We will see a little bit more action from these guys in a bit. But this battle here, as Rich is trying to get the lead away from Jason, pretty much nose to tail. But here he goes. Jason goes a little bit wide in Knickerbrook. Knickerbrook proves to be a key part of this race at Oulton Park. A lot of incidents there, but as Rich gets by, Jason ends up falling prey to Philip and Morgan and dropping back into P4, and here is where Morgan decides it's time. On the end of lap number 9, it's time to make the move, and here he goes around Philip Scott, crossing the start-finish line side by side, manages to sneak ahead here on the exit of turn 1. Philip keeps it nice and tight. Morgan goes out to the outside, takes the position, and then he's off to the races. He is going to try to catch Rich Hibbs here before the end of the race. Philip Scott stays there in 3rd. Jason Rabe in P4 with Adam Novotny right behind. Now later on in the race here, we move up here to lap 15, and notice Jeff Wyatt. Like I said earlier, he was the benefactor of that issue earlier, and he drove through very cleanly and moves up here into P3 as the pit stops start to roll through. Just running a great run tonight here with Jeff behind the wheel of the J&R Craftworks sponsored Ferrari. After the pit stops, lap 28, Jeff still cruising along. P5 now, just 2 to go. And here's the battle, side by side, nose to tail, coming around the corner. Rich Hibbs, Adam Novotny. Adam wants this podium spot. They've got a lap left on the feature, and 2nd to 4th are within a second of each other. And these guys are going for it. I think Adam at this point has saved a little bit more of the tires versus Rich here at this point in the race. He seems to be able to get up alongside him, but cannot get the pass to work, at least not at this point. And he only has this one last lap to go as they go down through Lakeside and hit the hairpin. And we will watch this through to the last couple corners. But this is the end of the feature, final lap. Morgan Teggy out front by 8 seconds. He's going to take the checkered flag first. Philip Scott trying to keep on for second here. Rich Hibbs in third. Adam Novotny in fourth. Now these two cars in front of these guys, we'll watch them as they're going to play a factor here. They go off the track racing each other. That's Mooney and Jason Rabe, who was up in the top 5, now back in 11th or 12th. Mooney trying to stay on that section with these guys, jumps just in front of Adam Novotny. Adam does get around here for the last corner, and these guys come around for the finish. So that is it. The battle for third ended back there at Knickerbrook. And Morgan Teggy takes the win. Philip Scott, Rich Hibbs, Adam Novotny, and Jeff Wyatt. There he is in P5. Jeremy Bruce, incident there in the sprint race, ends up in P6. Joe Fierro, who has an incident on lap 1, turn 1. There's Jeremy as he comes down the final corner. Joe Fierro does have an issue on lap 1 of the feature, but manages to get everything collected again and ends up in P7. Here's Vincent Tramontana. He's the one that caused the incident that Jeff Wyatt missed. That was in the sprint. He was able to regroup. And here's myself. I ended up in P9 after I was collected also. And that was Jeremy, Vincent, myself, and TJ all got caught up in that one. Alex Good with a nice clean run here tonight as well, and he finishes in 10th. Mooney we saw go by there with Jason Rabe, 11th to 12th. Todd Schwartz, Brandon Dooley after his incident on lap 1, turn 1, ends up in 14th, and Sean Williams takes P15. Here we go with the feature, or a couple incidents that happened. This gaggle of cars here in the middle. Here's Jeff Wyatt. I showed you this in the main race highlights, but watch it from his car as Vincent Tramontana goes a little bit wide here going through turn 10 and causes a little bit of havoc, spins around, misses Jeff there, and then these two get together. That's myself and Jason Rabe, and then we'll have to watch it from another angle here because he misses it a lot more than that. He misses these three cars, and then my car is sliding through the grass and once again just barely missed the back of Jeff. A little touch there. That's the first lap of the feature. That's the incident that takes out Julian and myself. Joe having a little issue there with Vincent. Joe had a couple bumps and bruises there during the feature. Still pulled off here he is again. Still pulled off a P7 out of that. So Paul Bilson doing a really good job up in top 10, but when Paul wrecks, and there it is. A couple good hard spins into the hairpin. And then Mooney and Knickerbrook, I think either he hates Knickerbrook or Knickerbrook hates him. I'm not sure which. There is lap 17, and he does gather it up and try to keep it back on the racetrack. Pulls out in front of Morgan from the point here as Morgan goes by. And here he is again on lap 22. Now watch as his car hits this bump and just kind of almost goes completely airborne. And that pushes him off into the gravel, off into the beach, and does again collect it and keep going. Now Jason Rabe, like I said, he was in P5. He's doing great. This is lap 26. There's only 3 to go. He's almost done with this lap. 3 to go this time by. He comes around the corner here at turn 10 and just gets just a little bit wide. Boom. And that is what happens when you stick it right in the wall, not going anywhere. And here he is again trying to fight Mooney for P11. This is on the final lap of the race. They go wide. This is the incident I was telling you about. Mooney comes back out on the racetrack right in front of those second, third, and fourth place guys. The first 2 guys get by, and then the battle kind of turns between the top drivers and then Mooney manages to hang on to it as well as Adam. We have Morgan Teggy out front at the finish. Philip Scott in second spot. There's Richard Hibbs in the number 15 P3. Adam Novotny finishes fourth. And Jeff Wyatt takes home P5. Thanks again for watching. This is Ron from Big Wazoo TV saying have a great night, everybody.